All right, here we go again. How you guys doing? You hanging in there? This is different. This is not how I envisioned our semester, but we're gonna make it work. So I'm trying to record these in smaller clips instead of one big long video. If you decide it'd be more convenient just to have one big long video, I don't know, an hour long, let me know. I just feel like that would be really long on my end to upload, and then on your end, it's a big time commitment. I figured if we did these in smaller chunks, maybe it'd be more doable for you guys because I know you've got a million things going on and you're trying to make it all work. And that way you can just sit down and do these in short clips. All right. So we talked about finding the inverse from a graph, right? Now we're going to calculate the inverse or come up with the inverse function from its equation. There's two steps. One step, flip around the x and the y. Step two, solve what you get for y. And that's your inverse equation. So let's see how this works for 62. 62, I'm going to write this equal to y, okay? Because f of x is the same as y, no big deal. So the first step, it said, was to interchange the x and the y variables. And so the y becomes x and the x becomes y. And that looks like this. 4 over 2 minus y equals x. All right, next we want to put this into an appropriate form, which means we're going to solve for y. Get the y by itself. Solve for y. Okay, solve for y. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We want to get the y by itself. I would suggest cross multiplying. Cross multiply. So 4 times 1 equals 4. And on the other side, we've got x times the quantity 2 minus y. 2 minus y. Okay. What are we trying to do? Get that y by itself. Let's distribute the x. Simplify that right-hand side. We get 2 times x minus x times y. Still trying to get that y by itself, aren't we? Subtract that 2x to the other side. Now it's 4 minus 2x equals negative xy. Still got to get that y by itself. That means we got to divide both sides by negative x. So now we've got, let's go over to here. We've got y equals 4 minus 2x over negative x. Good enough. This is now the inverse function f. All right, it says check your answer in the directions. What that means you need to do is calculate or figure out what f of f inverse of x looks like. Okay, so that means put the inverse function that you just came up with, put that into function f. Something like that. And simplify. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to make both of these negatives into a positive. Get the common denominator. Now we can add the numerators of that bottom quantity. We know how to divide fractions, and lo and behold, we end up getting this to simplify to x. Since we found f of f inverse of x and we got x back out of it, that's exactly where we started. This answer matches where we started. We are convinced that we have inverse functions.